Welcome back to C# Tutorials for Beginners. This time we're doing inheritance. Inheritance is actually a very simple concept, but it can be very complicated if you start teaching from a code base. So we're going to start from a blank slate, and in this tutorial, we're going to show how inheritance works, and then in the next video, we'll show some more real-life examples of why you might use it. So in keeping with our person theme, go ahead and create a person class with a first name property and a last name property. Then create an employee class with an employee number property. Once you've created both of these classes, click and drag the employee class tab until you see this docking menu, and you want to dock it on the right so you can see our person class and our employee class at the same time. So if we take a look at what we have a person class with a first name and last name that could represent any person. And over here we have an employee with an employee number that could represent any employee. Well, the reason why we did these two is because an employee is going to be a person. So our person is going to be our base class or parent, and our employee is going to be what's called a derived class or child. And derived means that this class is going to inherit from person because an employee is a person. So we haven't done anything yet to let C# know that this is the child class of this. So let's go back to program and let's create a person. And let's create an employee. Now if we look at what we can do, for person, we can set a first name. And for employee, we can set an employee number, just like that. So we can access the properties of both of our classes as you would expect. But since an employee is a person, what we want is to be able to inherit all of the properties and methods of person. So to do that, what we do is we add a colon after our class and then add the name of the class that we want to inherit from. So what this says is our class employee is a person. So now we can access anything in person because that's our parent. So if we jump back to program, now instead of only having employee number available to us, we can also set the first name of our employee. So now if we want to create a generic person, we can do that. But if we're creating an employee is a person, so we don't need to create a person anymore. We can create an employee and a person is built in. Now, even though this is a simple example, you can start to see how making these modular will let you separate your code into reusable portions. Because maybe we have employees, but maybe we also have visitors. Well, visitors would also be people. So now we don't have to have first and last name in employee and visitor and guest and any other number of people type objects. We can keep all of that here and inherit from it. And you can also do the same with methods. So say we had a method that was get full name, and we wanted to return the first name and the last name like we have been doing. We can add that to our person class, and we can call that from our employee because it inherits from person. So now we can reuse all of this code as many times as we need to in as many derived classes as we need to. So let's take this a step deeper to drive our point home, and let's add a class that's going to be doctor, and let's let the doctor have a public string specialty. And now let's make the doctor a child of employee. So what we've done is now the doctor inherits from employee. Employee inherits from person. So if we come over here to program and we create us a doctor can have a first name, a doctor can have an employee number, and a doctor can have a specialty. So now we've gone 3 levels deep. And we could go even further. We could have a surgeon who was a doctor, who is an employee, who is a person. So Depending on your design, your needs, and all of that, inheritance can be extremely useful in organizing and reusing all of this logic so you don't have to copy and paste it everywhere that you need it. While there are definitely more facets to inheritance, I think this is plenty of information for one video. Next up, we're going to dive a little bit deeper, recap some, and get into some polymorphism and a real life example. So thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate you. And until next time, as always, take care.